And joining us here on India Today Now is Mr. Kapil Komireddy, international journalist, columnist, commentator and author of Malevolent Republic, A Short History of the New India. Mr. Komireddy, I appreciate you taking the time out and joining us. You've regularly written about Chandrababu Naidu, sir. You've seen him work in close quarters. Today, with how things are playing out, how do you really see Chandrababu Naidu maneuvering through these negotiations for plum cabinet berths?
Sorry, just two clarifications there. Neither of those statements are accurate. I haven't observed him from close quarters for a long time, nor have I written about him extensively. In fact, the piece that I wrote in the print yesterday is perhaps the first thing I've ever written about him. I met him once, but I've grown up under him, as it were, even though I didn't grow up here. He was the chief minister of the state when I was very young, and I know him through friends and through family, and I think he is a rather ruthless politician. He is when it comes to coalition politics, I think he has no match in India. He is exceptionally good at negotiating and getting what he wants from Delhi. And I think now that he's got the numbers, and now that the Prime Minister is in a particularly difficult position, unexpectedly, I think Mr. Naidu smells blood, and he will try and extract all that he can from the Prime Minister.
You know, a lot of questions were asked as soon as this verdict came in, and it was clear that TDP is a very crucial player of what's going to happen in Delhi, on whether Chandrababu Naidu would actually change sides, seeing as what happened in 2018. Right now, he's made it clear he remains with the NDA. But do you see that changing over the next 5 years? Do you think there's any circumstance that could make Naidu do a rethink on staying with the NDA?
Anything is possible in politics, right? We were, until 3 days ago, we thought that this was the new India, that there was the Modi government. Both of those things are history. Anything is possible in politics. Having said that, I think Chandrababu Naidu, at the moment, will be reluctant to switch sides. I think having worked with the Prime Minister before, having been duped by him, he knows the Prime Minister well. He knows how to handle him. And this time he's got antibodies. You know, he can't be affected by the Prime Minister's machinations on this occasion. I think he will be an equal match for the Prime Minister. And he is going to get from this particular dispensation all that he wants. And the moment that it ceases to give him what he wants, I think that is when he will start thinking about leaving it.
One of the big questions and the issue here, while I've been in Vijayawada for the last few days, has been the issue of Andhra special status. Do you think that's something that will become a reality, that perhaps Naidu could also mention right now in the get-go, saying that this has to become a reality because, you know, he will need the central government's help on this?
I think that's the condition of his support for the Prime Minister. He wants that, and I think he's going to get it. I think the Prime Minister, effectively, that was the issue on which they broke in 2018. He wanted special status for his state, which would be in accordance with the act by which this Andhra Pradesh was truncated, was divided, and the Prime Minister chose not to give it to him, rather foolishly, rather arrogantly. I think this time, I don't see how the Prime Minister denies him that, unless this goes to the courts, unless there is a legal technicality that delays it. I think the Prime Minister will have to give him that. And that is, I believe, the condition of Mr. Naidu's support for the Prime Minister. If the Prime Minister doesn't give him that, then their alliance is over.
Okay, so you think that is the one term and condition that the BJP will have to stick to, or it could break the alliance. My final question to you, Mr. Komireddy, is that months ago when Chandrababu Naidu was jailed, many believed that it was the turning point for the TDP and it gave them essentially a chance here in Andhra Pradesh that's translated to this huge mandate in their favor right now. Do you think that there's a possibility of Chandrababu Naidu now going after Jagan Mohan Reddy, kind of reopening corruption cases against Jagan Mohan Reddy?
That's a very important question. Before I answer that, I just want to clarify one thing from the previous question. You asked me if the special status for his state was the one thing he would want from the Prime Minister. I think it's one of the many things he would want from the Prime Minister. He would want many plum positions within the cabinet. He will want other concessions, and I think he will get those. And if he's denied any of those, I think he will threaten the Prime Minister that he's going to leave. That is how he dealt with Vajpayee in the past. Now, coming to this particular question, I think there was an overreach on the part of the now outgoing chief minister. Not only did he send Mr. Naidu to jail, he was very abusive, used rather uncouth language against Mr. Naidu. I think he will not be in a very forgiving mood, but this is a cycle that's got to end. I think Jagan Mohan Reddy was so vicious against Mr. Naidu because he felt that he had a revenge to exact. And I think at the moment, if Mr. Naidu chooses to do the same, then eventually, at some point, Jagan Reddy will come back to power. And it would be very wise of him, very statesmanly of him, very prudent of him to bring this circle to a close. And he's often claimed to be a champion of democracy. All politicians in India are flawed. All politicians everywhere are flawed. But he is in a position right now to bring this circle to a close, to govern maturely, to create a model of democracy for the rest of the country. And I sincerely hope he'll do that. But I know that Jagan Mohan Reddy is in a lot of trouble, and everyone who believes in Indian democracy should keep an eye on this. And we ought to make sure that the rule of law is upheld in that state. That the quest for vendetta doesn't cloud the law of the state of the country, and that is very, very important.
Very true. Thank you so much, Mr. Komireddy, for joining us with your insights, with your perspective on what's playing out right now in Andhra Pradesh and Mr. Naidu's role in really the national picture as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for taking the time out and joining us.
Thank you.